Hello, my name is Navon Morgan. I am here as a member of the community and an alumni of Fort Vancouver High School, class of 2019. I'm also, sorry, I'm also a current contractor for an outside organization working at Fort Vancouver High School. I'm here today alongside some truly inspiring young leaders who are using their voice to hopefully upend the status quo of racism and anti-Blackness that has shown itself to be more present than ever in our school community. As a contracted employee for a community partner in the building, I've seen firsthand multiple instances of intentional anti-Black hate speech directed towards students that I work to uplift. I've seen directly the pain that it causes our kids of color, and I've watched administrators choose to respond with passivity, indifference, in a moment when our Black students need defense and a champion. In the last 2 weeks alone, there's been so many moments of students coming and confiding in me, telling me stories about their painful experiences, being called everything in the classroom from monkeys to jigaboos, as teachers that they trusted sat silently. How do you explain to a child that someone wrote, excuse my language, ugly ass nigger on a picture of them and that there was nothing that you could do to help? We owe so much to these students, and I've seen time and time again them be failed by the people who claim that they don't have the tools to help, or that right now is not the right time, or that as a white staff member, well, I just don't know how to enforce this policy. So I'm here to say humbly and bring it to your attention that, we're in need of a solution in our school. And I want to highlight the work of Charlotte, our school's equity coach and specialist, whose job was taken without any consideration for the need for her work at Fort Vancouver. I can say without any question in my mind that this school will be lost without her doing this work next year, and it will be our Black students who feel the blunt of the racial violence that too often goes unchecked in the building. So many people say they're committed to equity when it's feasible, when it's the kind of word that can get you elected, but not when it's time to act on it. It's never too late to do the right thing, and it's surely never too late to do right by our students. Dr. Snell, the board, I urge you to do the right thing and do everything to address this issue. To my students who are here, I'm so proud of you. Charlotte, I'm so grateful for you. That's all I have.
I'm a senior at Fort Vancouver High School, and I'm the vice president of Black Student Union. I'm here to speak to you today about the lack of accountability and response from the staff and administration at Fort Vancouver High School. Over the past month, countless racial issues have been brought to their attention, and each time these issues were not handled correctly. The most common solution they came up with was to sweep the issue under the rug. There was an incident where multiple posters created by a Black student were defaced. The student created posters to advertise a wellness and affinity group for young women that included a picture of herself. Another student, who's still unknown, came and wrote multiple slurs and pieces of harmful language over the picture of the student, including ugly ass nigger. This was reported on April 30th. The student whose posters were defaced wasn't informed of what happened until May 7th by the advisor of our Black Student Union, Navon Morgan. The student went to get more information about what happened from one of the administrators and was told that they were waiting for Charlotte Latte, the current equity coach at Fort, to get back and start finding a solution for the problem. When discussing this with Black Student Union members, one member asked the question, if the admin waited until Charlotte was available to find a solution, then what would they do when she's gone? Immediately when Charlotte returned, she began brainstorming possible solutions for this problem. For example, she started working on a policy that would essentially ban the use of the N-word, as well as making a better system for students to report racial incidents that happen in the school. As one of the most diverse schools in Vancouver, it's concerning how many racially motivated incidents have happened inside the school within the past month, which brings my concern even higher for schools that are less diverse. More than ever, our education system needs equity coaches inside of our schools. They embody a desperate need for change that administrators and other staff have failed to fulfill. Without people like Charlotte in our buildings, all of these atrocities will continue to go unchecked, and that's completely unacceptable. As a district who continually discusses the need for equity, this is an opportunity to act on those values and to take a stand against racism, homophobia, ableism, sexism, and any other hate speech that has taken place inside of our publicly funded schools. Thank you.
I'm a sophomore at Fort Vancouver High School, also a co-president of BSU. I would like to speak on the social media incident that has really arose the racism in our school. There was a video posted on the Instagram where the girl who had posted it, she was very ignorant and tried to use her race as a backup to saying that she's not racist, which anyone, it does not matter who you are, you can be racist. To this day, she's still proud of what she had did, and anytime I see her on any of her social medias, she just keeps going. She's just not, she's not sincere about any of her apologies. I have so many screenshots of what her and her friends have said about the Black community at our school. This girl hasn't been sincere about any of her apologies. Every time she has said sorry, she would just keep going with more racism, especially with her friend who has said very disgusting things and hurtful things. It took me and everything in my power to not go off on her. Some of the things that she said were, and I quote, "And then you guys got offended, bruh, maybe because you guys act like hood people. N-word is not, the N-word is not funny, but the joke wasn't about you guys. Calm down, bruh. And maybe solve it like a behavior person and not like a monkey." Those were some of the highlights that she said, and some of her friends, which he said was, "Shut your monkey ass up, little nigga. Go jump off a fucking tree and eat some dildo bananas. Little bitch ass nigga, I'll fuck any of your homies up, so quit talking shit, bitch ass monkey." When we heard all these things, the frustration in all of our faces, things like this should not be acceptable. And it should not be handled in this way.
I'm a sophomore at Fort Vancouver High School. I'm also the co-president of the Black Student Union. On Friday, April 26th, there was an incident where some students posted a TikTok with the N-word posted on the video. Some students from our school addressed the girls who posted the TikTok, and they proceeded to say microaggressions and racial slurs towards the girls, including calling them monkeys. It was brought to admin. It was brought to admin, and that day they pulled one of the girls who posted it and one of the girls who responded from class. That happened on a Friday. The Sunday after, an email was sent out to parents addressing the situation, but not talking about a solution for it. Then the Thursday following, May 2nd, staff held a focus group for Black students to share their feelings about the incident that happened on the 26th. And during the meeting, an admin proceeded to ask what they think we should do about the situation and how they should handle it. Monday, May 6th, Charlotte came back. Once she heard about all the things that happened and found out the admin hadn't done anything about it, she immediately found a solution. She started working on a new policy, and yesterday she presented it to the school. There was another incident where one of my current teachers said to me and two of my Black classmates that if he was in the car by himself and was listening to a song, he would say the N-word. The teacher never apologized, and when my classmate's mom went to admin about it, he said, "Let's not make this into something it's not." I say all this to say the admin at the school lack accountability and have failed to make sure all their students feel safe and make sure we feel like we're heard at the school. Devon, our BSU advisor, and Charlotte, our equity coach, have made the biggest difference this year. But I'm afraid without them, nothing would have been addressed or made a priority to the admin at Fort. Our school next year is going to go from having 6 Black staff to having 2, and no Black teachers. Do you know what it's like to walk into your school? You know what it's like to walk into your school while students are calling you the most racist things and have your teachers say them as well? Probably not. Racism does happen at Fort Vancouver High School, and our admin doesn't know how to handle it.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Clarissa Hightower. I am a community member for Vancouver. I serve on 2 nonprofit organizations as their as a board of director, and we provide direct service to VPS community members. I know for sure that VPS leadership can do hard things, and they have. I had the pleasure of seeing it with my own eyes last night as 15+ teachers of color completed a leadership program towards their admin licensure in partnership between VPS and WSU. It confirmed for me the power of true collaboration and commitment to supporting and retaining diverse staff that VPS holds. I also want to share a quote with you from a student who I had the pleasure of working with as the Executive Director of Equity and Inclusion for Evergreen Public Schools. She says, "I just wish the adults could get it together long enough to see that while they argue, we wait. Students wait. We wait to be seen and heard, and if we wait too long, you will lose us." Our students' behavior is communication. They're reaching out. Their testimony here at this podium is communication. And based on those testimonies, they are communicating to us a specific need. And instead of listening to our students, the voices of the very people we are committed to supporting, we give them excuses and we quote procedures and traditional ways of doing things, and why we cannot and we will not give them the specific support they're asking for. Knowing that we, the adults, have the ability to change those procedures and create new traditions. Our students want more diverse teaching staff. And to do that, we must start by retaining the few we have, including one who was mentioned this evening, Charlotte Larte. Just over the river in Portland Public Schools and in several other districts, they have language in their contracts to prevent the disproportionate impact that RIFs have on diverse staff. I sincerely urge both VPS leadership and VEA leadership to work together to craft language that retains a diverse staff in VPS schools. Both VEA and VPS leadership have shared their commitment to equity and their understanding of the importance of retaining diverse staff. But our students don't have a union, nor do they have seats at the decision-making table. And so they count on us to act in their best interests. As leaders, we have a choice. We can choose to continue to uphold the status quo and the procedures that are counterproductive to the goals and values we publicly commit to, or we can choose to do something different. Please, let's do something different ASAP, because our students are counting on us and they are tired of waiting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Charlotte Latte.
Good evening. I am Charlotte Latte. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a community member and I am the equity instructional coach at Fort Vancouver High. And it's been a lot the past couple weeks. It's been a lot. I am speaking to elevate the voices of our students. They are speaking here because they have not been heard. What they have shared tonight, I have heard. Our admin have heard, and it is not a lack of care in our school that we haven't changed faster. It is a lack of skill and capacity. And my job as an equity and instructional coach is to assess the climate and the culture and to make recommendations for what we need to do to address it. And I was in DC lobbying for more education funding. You're welcome, everybody. And while I was gone, there were 3, 4, 5 incidences of racism. And when I came back, they continued. And to address what's going on in our school has been a matter of urgency.
There have been sleepless nights. As you've heard from our students, they are not okay. I have to be able to look at them and say that this is not going to happen to you again. And we cannot say that right now. We are doing everything we can as a school to create the conditions where that kind of behavior is not acceptable, but it's taking time. And it's going to take more time than I have with my job being eliminated in a month. And I think that's been what's so frustrating, is that the board passed the budget. And I heard you say the budget cuts were made to reflect the community, but there's a certain community that has been neglected and left out, and that is the Black community. And you had an opportunity to decide which positions should be protected, and you could have protected diverse staff at our highest diverse schools. You could have put place parameters that would make sure that there would not be more historic underrepresentation. This is also historical, when schools were segregated and then they were integrated, and the Black students were bused to school and the Black educators were pushed out. And so this is repeating the history of underrepresentation. It should not come as a surprise that this happened. We knew this was going to happen. I think our union knew it was going to happen. The district knew it was going to happen, but neither party did anything about it. And now here we are. How are you going to make this right for our Black students and community? Understanding the stakes that you've heard tonight. The stakes are very high. How will you make it right? Thank you.
Thank you. Dimitri Stoyanov.
Evening, my name is Dimitri. I have two kids that go to Vancouver Public Schools. I just want to say that it's a choice to have administration that doesn't know how to deal with racism. It's a choice. It's a choice that we're not prioritizing the safety of all of our students. It's a choice that we can make differently. But I just